Welcome to another episode of the AI Plus Recruiting Podcast. I'm your talent advisor and host, Alex Rojas. And in today's episode, we'll be talking about the rise of AI hiring and how companies and recruiters can win in the new AI talent economy. And today I'm joined by special guest, Sunil Kasuba, who is a CEO and founder for Smart Talent AI based in Washington, D.C., which is actually my hometown where I was born and raised. And he'll be bringing us a unique blend of his technical expertise from his roots in cybersecurity to becoming a CEO where he helps companies decode their AI business needs, designs the right AI strategies, and hires the best talent. Now, his journey really reflects a larger shift in what we're seeing in the marketplace as organizations are racing to acquire the best AI talent that's out there. So this conversation is going to include a get battle ready call out to business and talent acquisition leaders, emphasizing the time to adapt to AI is now. The time to invest in AI innovation is now. I'm ready. I'm pumped. I'm excited. Let's discuss. Sunil, welcome to the AI Plus Recruiting Podcast. I'm really looking forward to our conversation, and I really want to set up the stage of our conversation for here today. And really what we want to talk about as we introduce this is really career pivots and the transitioning into AI. But again, really excited to have you join the podcast.
Thank you so much, Alex. I'm really honored to be here with you today and very excited to talk about one of my favorite topics. So let's get moving on this.
Yes. Well, there's lots of movement right now in the job marketplace that we're seeing, especially when it comes to high tech professionals kind of transitioning into AI. Can you talk about really what's happening right now in the job marketplace when it comes to career pivots into the AI industry, and specifically, where is the market heading?
Sure. Thank you for that question, Alex. I guess I'll first start with my own personal journey, and it'll kind of lead into a couple larger points that I can make. So, I myself started in a different industry. I was in government. I was working on counterterrorism and cybersecurity analysis in the national security realm of things a number of years ago. And from there, while I really enjoyed what I was doing and it was very meaningful work, and many people work in that industry today and we need them, I personally wanted to resonate closer with global development and seeing tangible results coming out of some of the U.S. government funded programming in a variety of regions. So while I was working there, did a master's degree on global development, shifted over to working as a program officer and manager on a variety of U.S. government funded programs in a variety of countries. Really enjoyed that work. But what came clear to me, and this is where my pivot to talent acquisition actually specifically went in that direction.
Okay.
It was when I was helping manage programs, I realized, and this is very cliche to say, and I totally understand this, there's a million great people out there, very talented folks, but if we don't have the right people for the right jobs, with the right pairing them with the right skill sets, then we're all going to miss out on great opportunities, right? So that's when I decided I want to dedicate my career to talent acquisition, really being that matchmaker between companies and finding people that can connect the dots and really provide meaningful work in a variety of industries. So that's kind of where I went with my career. And then Smart Talent AI was born just a few months ago. AI, of course, is a big hot topic that everyone is talking about. And myself included, a few years ago, was like, this AI thing, I want to learn a little bit more about it. Yeah. And it resonated with me personally because, coming from the tech industry in cybersecurity in the government, I saw AI at that point as also kind of a new frontier.
Hmm.
where cyber was years ago, and I saw AI with such great potential. I also first approached AI with a bit of skepticism, like a lot of us do, and like a lot
Hmm.
of us should be. And I still have that. I still have some skepticism, but I realized, either you get behind AI, use it to augment your processes, or you fall behind, quite frankly. So
Yeah,
that's when I started really pivoting my career and my current company that you mentioned to really focusing my efforts on identifying AI professionals that can help augment processes for a variety of different firms, small and large enterprises, and state and local governments as well. So, uh,
I
yeah,
love it.
that's kind of the intro I want to say.
Great.
Thank
Yeah, no, that's a great origin story. And that's what really was fascinating when you and I got together to hear kind of, really what that transition was like for you, to make that cybersecurity transition, that pivot into talent acquisition, and now really focusing on the AI, business landscape. And so, when I think about my 3 decades in recruiting, I look at historic recruiting shifts that I've seen, and I draw a lot of parallels between, sort of the past industry pivots that we've seen. So I can remember the big Y2K mainframe boom when everybody was looking for everybody to,
you. Yeah,
to fix our computer systems, right? So that was a big boom. And then we kind of went into that telecom frenzy, right? The big telecom companies out there. Then obviously .com exploded with the .com era, and then we had like this massive surge in data centers being developed, and then kind of came in the cybersecurity realm, and then obviously cloud over the last decade and a half, and so now we've seen over the last really last few years the transition into AI, even though AI has been around for quite some time. And so when I look at the technology impact that it has on recruiting, I think what for recruiters, as we're recruiters out there and we're listening to Sunil talk about his transition, for us as recruiters, we have to reshape even our workflows. And so we've done that even from the advancement of sourcing in Boolean string methods to now using smart search and adopting social media and chat technology, and now kind of these AI driven recruiting tools that are out there. And I just thought that was really fascinating, the pivots that we're going to be seeing in the marketplace for professionals that are going to be kind of transitioning into these areas. And that's one of the things that I did just on this podcast alone, was transitioning from Mindset podcast over to the AI Plus recruiting podcast. And that's a pivot that I thought was absolutely necessary, to do, considering the landscape that we're in right now. So let's dig into this a little bit more. So I want to
yeah.
kind of get into the weeds here, Sunil, and really what I want to look at is, which companies are hiring AI talent. I think that's one of the things that we want to look at. As AI, AI hiring looks different at every stage, of a company's growth. So it could be everything from startups to tech, the tech giants out there. Each company, has their sort of set of challenges and strategies that are really unique to their own. So one of the things that we just recently witnessed was kind of this. It seems like there's a race for AI talent that's starting to unfold, and we saw it with recently the Mark Zuckerberg Meta announcement that he publicly said that he's going to go after the best AI technologists in the country. And so he's going after all the big AI shops of the world, the Open AIs and the Googles, the Anthropic, to name a few. So it's going to seem like it's going to be like a game of musical chairs right now. And so some are going to be jumping ship, but also they'll be doing it for maybe more income, bigger payday, but others are going to stay put because they believe in the vision cast of some of those companies. But from your perspective, can you share with us what you're seeing as it relates to more traditional companies, what they're doing when it comes to hiring AI talent? I'd imagine that it's going to vary, again, I guess, across company size and what industry vertical that they're in, what large organizations are doing compared to mid-sized or small business companies are going to differ, and how each one of them is approaching hiring. What are you seeing out there right now?
Thanks, Alex. That's an excellent question, and that's something that as I've started this company and I'm talking to a lot of different organizations, I'm seeing this lot of these differences outlined. I mean, starting with the traditional, more enterprise level organizations, again, everything I'm saying is general observations. Obviously, there's exceptions to these, but generally, what I'm seeing with the larger enterprises is that they're looking for support to develop their own custom language, large language models, right? Large LLMs. They're looking to have talent hired internally to build these large scale models, and they're looking to hire data scientists, prompt engineers, AI operations analysts, machine learning engineers. So I'm
Mhm.
seeing a lot of that trend with enterprises as they're trying to build their own internal
Yeah.
customized systems. With the medium-sized enterprises, which is more of the companies I'm working with and trying to support,
Mhm.
I'm seeing a little bit of a hybrid where, obviously, they got to be mindful of the budget. So they're trying to take a lot more of a pragmatic approach and trying to identify how AI tools can be systematized and integrated to supporting their current workflows and
Mhm.
automating workflows that they have already in place. So they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're trying to hire, short-term, long-term consultants that can come in, prescribe solutions for, and help automate existing workflows.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing on the medium-sized front. Small
Okay.
companies, they're very, cognizant and enthusiastic in getting into the quote unquote AI game. But they are, I think a lot of the ones I've talked to are trying to figure out where to even begin. So
Mhm.
they're more at the level where they're looking for quote unquote AI generalists, and that could mean a plethora of things, as we both know. But they're looking to see, okay, how AI is going to even be a strong indicator of ROI, and like how AI can work with not only existing workflows but create those workflows for them, right?
Mhm.
So they're like really at the beginning stages of things. And one industry that I think is often overlooked, and this is something with smart talent AI that we're trying to do, is work with small to medium sized governments as well,
Mhm. Mhm.
because that's a little bit of a different set of factors that we're working with, because they're facing the demand not only to systematize and automate processes within their own
Mhm.
companies, kind of like the mid-sized to larger sized companies that I was talking about, but they're also looking to meet citizens' demands.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of political pressure there, and a lot of other pressures that they're dealing with to help use AI to meet a lot of demands that citizens are dealing with on an everyday basis, like reducing traffic, reducing congestion, making their streets cleaner. So that's where we have a smart cities focus in our program, which I'm happy to get into later,
Yeah.
and that's what we're trying to also work on, increasing and optimizing AI talent towards.
Yeah. I love that, Sunil. I mean, there you just laid out really the first of all, what's desperately needed out there for a lot of companies is to have somebody like a facilitator that can come in and be consultative and trying to figure out what kind of AI solutions, fits their business needs. And I loved how you picked, some of these local governments as well. We've even seen, I just spoke to an AI product developer the other day, and he was talking about the sort of the surge that they're seeing even with local businesses. A lot of these local businesses, these small mom and pop sort of businesses that are looking to incorporate AI. So even they need a helping hand. So those are, again, great reasons why companies really need to turn to you, to companies like you, to really help them navigate through this. I think also the other thing that you and I kind of talked about, just briefly is, and this is what I've been seeing kind of when we look at non-AI companies,
Yeah.
that I think kind of put themselves at risk. These larger enterprise organizations, they're starting to kind of get into this paralysis analysis with
Mm.
governance AI, right? Everything comes down to more IT security, of course, the privacy and legal updates, and cyber reviews, all those things have to happen. But I'm also seeing them really starting to get a little apprehensive when it comes to legislature,
Sure.
whether it's state, local, or federal government standards that are out there. And so I think what that's doing is really bringing more oversights, more red tape, more bureaucratic, which means that there's a longer pause in investing in AI for some of these large enterprise organizations, because really what turns out to be 3 months then becomes 6 months or 9 months. And then AI is moving at such a lightning speed right now. And the longer that they delay, I think what it does is it tees up sort of these early AI adopters, which I think is what you're servicing right now as far as your field goes, your clients. And these early adopters, they're going to be a little bit unique, because these larger companies are slower to adopt and move. The doors are going to open for these small mid-sized companies to be quicker, to adapt, to try new technology, and they're going to be able to grow, market, and sell, acquire new customers at a much higher rate, which ultimately is going to increase the revenue and growth. The other thing that I would also mention is, sometimes what I'm seeing out here is some of these larger organizations, they're taking the onus to say, all right, we want to develop some of our own internal AI tools, right? And so then they spend 3 months, 9 months, a year kind of in that stage, and when they could have really outsourced it and really integrated into their landscape. And so there's something to say about external AI product innovation as well. And then the only other thing that I would just add to this, because I think it's really important, is that, many sort of companies right now, they're still trying to figure out, how to incorporate the AI tech stack, and especially within talent acquisition organizations are still, it seems like they're still infighting when it comes to AI. Is it going to take my job away? No, it's not going to take. And it seems like it's just split down the middle. You have one half saying they're not going to take your job away, they are going to take your job away. And I think really what it's doing, it's holding back real innovation for these talent acquisition teams out there, because they're risk adverse. They're not willing to try some of this new AI tech that's happening right now, incorporating it within their recruiting life cycle. And it's really comes down to kind of a lack of TA leadership and influencing HR or executive leaders within organizations. Any thoughts to that, just to kind of add to that?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head on a couple of different things. To your last point there, hey, listen, I'll be honest. I was on the same boat a couple of years ago when
Yeah.
AI was being used in talent acquisition. I was like, all right, is my job going to be suddenly obsolete? Like,
Yeah.
but I quickly realized, you know what, and I kind of indicated this a little earlier in our conversation. AI is going to be, or is a tool that is out there to help augment your processes, not
Hmm.
take it over.
Hmm.
And I have strongly become a believer in that. And this is what I tell people literally on an everyday basis. Someone approaches me with this question uh, to some extent, and
Yeah.
I tell them, listen, like, yes, I think AI might not might. AI will take over a lot of the more daily routine tasks that we
Yeah.
all as recruiters face, which
Yeah.
is, who doesn't have a requisition that they're looking at when there's like hundreds and hundreds of applications, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we all have only the attention span and the time in the day that we can dedicate to, a certain number of those resumes. But are all those resumes getting the time that they deserve with a fresh pair of eyes? Let's be real, probably not. Not
Hmm.
probably. So this is a good example where I talk about how AI tools can go in, do like a very cursory look at the various applications that you're seeing for a requisition with a fresh pair of eyes every time, and
Hmm.
screen out candidates that may not hit some of the basic requirements that a position is looking for, right? And then this will then narrow down that list so that a recruiter like myself or like you or someone else can
Yeah.
then look at it with human eyes,
Yeah.
with a fresh pair of eyes. So that's just one example of many where I think AI has helped augment recruitment. Um,
Great point. Yeah. That's great. Thanks, Anil, for that. And let's get into the next segment because I think this is a good one here, and I'm really curious. And you kind of already teased us with it earlier, but we really want to talk about the supply and demand of AI talent, and I want to get a little bit more granular. One of my pet peeves that I have is just how overgeneralized
Mm,
AI gets whenever
right,
it's discussed. So
right,
I really want to get into this and talk about, what's the pulse in the AI job marketplace. So
sure.
could you break down maybe the top three of the most in demand AI related roles that you're seeing right now as it relates to maybe job titles or required skills or hiring challenges, whatever you want to say, kind of just about, so give us like the top three so we
Sure.
know what's happening in the recruiting market space.
Absolutely. I'll start off with the top technical role that I'm seeing, which are prompt engineers and AI ops managers. Those that can what most people envision AI being like, having machine learning engineers and tech specialists go in, craft a variety of codes to help companies refine outputs when it comes to developing LLMs within companies. So I'm seeing a lot of need for that, those machine learning engineers and prompt engineers. So there's
Mhm.
that. But on the non-technical side, which is where I want to go to, and this is where my company's focused a lot on, because
Okay.
we've realized, AI, while obviously it is technical at its core,
Hmm.
is more practical than anything else. Like we've been talking about, we need to have it, have you AI utilized in a practical manner. So one of the other roles that I'm seeing quite high demand for is AI program managers. Those
Hmm.
that can go into a company. And this is what I talk about a lot with clients of mine. uh, we need people not only that understand, the high level tech behind, creating an LLM or integrating AI into existing workflows, but also those that can devise a blueprint for your company on
Yeah.
how AI should be rolled out. Um, Help identify, XYZ that can be automated and the ROI that can come as a result of that automation. So this involves, not only program management but also a little bit of business analysis, right, behind what
Hmm.
tools can be automated. Because if you go to any given company, everyone's inundated with a million tasks a day. So there's a lot of things that can be automated, but we have to look at what to prioritize. So that's the other role that we're prioritizing on our end.
Okay.
And thirdly, and certainly not least importantly, and you hinted at this, I'm glad you brought this up, risk management and compliance. As a cybersecurity person myself, this is where my brain
Yeah.
goes off, and
Yeah. Sure.
the need for that AI risk management and compliance. And Alex, I liked how you brought up that earlier, and how a lot of large enterprises are being bogged down a little bit by that.
Hmm.
And, rightfully so to some extent. Obviously, without, this is a new frontier, right? It's the wild, wild
Yes.
west in many ways.
Hmm.
And I think companies are, from what I'm seeing I'm seeing a higher demand for people that can go in, devise a risk management plan, a compliance, like with those eyes in view,
Hmm.
not only those that can implement and, like, put together new sexy tools for companies, but also on the back end, make sure we're managing it properly. And then
Yes.
working out scenarios in which, something goes wrong, and, we have like a tailored guide as to how to work through those issues that AI might have opened up, including data privacy issues. This is what I'm talking to city leaders often about,
Okay.
where they're saying, and rightfully so, citizens are very excited about the idea of IoTs being there out there, detecting traffic patterns or detecting patterns of life that citizens are, practicing every day. But, rightfully so, there are data concerns, right? Like where the data is being stored, who has access to that data.
Hmm.
And that obviously will lead to, privacy concerns that I'm sure you and I would share too. So all that to say, yeah, risk compliance is another big role that, I'm seeing, and, my company's also pushing out for in that space. And I guess that comes under the umbrella of the AI education space and AI literacy space. So
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And thanks for highlighting those three sort of hot skill set areas within AI when it comes to hiring. And for us recruiters, right? So I think this is one of the things that I'm trying to do. You talked about educating, is even educating the talent acquisition community when it comes to leveling up our expertise when it comes to hey, based on these demands that we're going to start seeing in the marketplace, we have to start learning how to validate AI talent. And so it's going to be moving beyond sort of these buzzwords to grasp some of these technical foundations and some of these niche areas that are evolving right now. And so recruiters are really great because they adapt, they're fluid. I remember one time I was recruiting for an astronaut or electromagnetic scientist, had no idea how to recruit one. And so
Right.
recruiting an AI specialist shouldn't be any different, especially since AI roles have really been around. I've seen them for the last decade. They talked about sort of these machine learning engineers or data
Right.
scientists. They've been working on AI for
Yeah,
well over a decade now. And so now
absolutely.
it's finally just found its own sort of family job labor category, if you will.
That's well
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. But, also for recruiters, it's really, we have to get proactive in pipelining. And so we have to align with the company's vision that you work for, understand what the long-term forecasting is when it comes to AI hiring. And so building and nurturing those talent community profiles, and getting ahead of the demand is going to be something really important for recruiters to do. And I think I just mentioned this last week. I put a post in there just trying to encourage recruiters, like, hey, how do you start transitioning into AI? And one of the things I talked about is, again, sort of leveraging as much knowledge base as you can, reading articles, watching AI focused podcasts like this, following LinkedIn thought leaders, reading industry reports, just having a good pulse, staying on top of some of these trends. And that will help recruiters sharpen their AI sort of recruiting expertise. So, with that said, let's get into the next segment. And in this one, I want to focus on marketing and selling AI to companies and to candidates, right?
Oh,
So,
this is my
what's
favorite.
yeah, I'm really interested in this. So, what's the method kind of being used right now to influence companies, to invest in AI? Is it product positioning,
Right.
or is it consultative solutions? What are the decision makers doing or not doing, or what are they educated or not educated enough with? Can you kind of talk about what your approach is when you're presenting AI solutions or products, and how do you communicate sort of that technical depth or that value proposition when it comes to that?
That's a great question, Alex. I'm glad you brought it up. This is what we deal with on a daily basis
Yeah.
because AI is such a quote unquote. I mean, like you alluded to, and it's true. It's been around. It's not like
Mhm.
it's like just born
Yeah.
yesterday. But I think what it is I think a lot of business leaders are now realizing the pragmatic solutions that can be brought out using AI, right?
Mhm.
And but they don't understand, you know, there's aura of controversy over it, right? Like you alluded to, like risk and compliance and data privacy issues and other issues that are like, but they also realize there is quite a bit of promise and you know profit margins that could be made using AI and to automate processes. So, but there's also a lot of pushback with individuals fearing that they're going to lose their jobs or they're
Mhm.
versus. So that leads to what I would say is when I talk to business leaders and I come across a lot of people that I approach saying, okay, why do I need this? Like, why do I need someone to come in and like help automate my processes? Things are
Mhm.
going fine. I don't want to lose my job. I mean, these are the types of questions and pushback comments I routinely get. Um, so this is where the challenge rises for me and like people in my company, which is explaining, yes, AI will, certainly change the daily life of all of our employees, but um, this is how it's going to make it better for everyone. Like instead
Mhm.
of focusing on like, well, I'll take the recruitment example I said earlier, where instead of recruiters spending hours upon hours looking at resumes, what if they had a lot of time back in their days to look
Yeah.
at resumes that are certainly ones associated with individuals that can potentially be strong candidates, and start with a fresh pair of eyes on like seeing where those that short list of candidates can actually fit into the company versus spending half the energy on just weeding out candidates that may not fit the company culture.
Hmm.
So I think there's a lot of that where you have to kind of put things into terms of their own companies and provide examples of how you know AI can actually help augment processes versus take over processes,
Yeah.
and take it over in a nefarious way, which is why a lot of business leaders are working with or like afraid of. So I think that's the challenge that I'm facing when I go to business leaders and
Yeah.
when I'm trying to quote unquote sell AI talent.
Hmm.
That's the conversation I have to have initially, just like why it is that it's important that AI should be on your radar, and like why
Yeah. Yeah.
professionals like have to sell them like what the ROI can potentially be and what
Sure.
it is. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great point because I evaluate probably me and my team. We evaluate probably over 100 demos and products per year, and we've been
yeah,
doing that consistently. And what needs to happen from a recruiter's perspective is there needs to be a way that you structured a lot of these AI tools when it comes to evaluating the tools, because the
mm,
AI products are really flooding the marketplace right now. And so recruiters and
right,
talent acquisition leaders, they have to create sort of these systems. I remember we had an Excel spreadsheet that kind of tracked all of our tools, and
really,
after several hundred, it's not manageable anymore
right,
to track and to rate and to assess tools and figure out what the ROIs are and what's the
correct,
integration potential and the innovation value and how do you enable it, how do you do change management,
right,
adoption. All these things matter, and you have to get leadership buy-in in order to do this. And so
exactly,
I think that's one of the things that when companies or talent acquisition teams decide to say, hey, we're going to dabble with this AI product or tool, because not even the new products, even now, every existing product has to showcase some sort of AI enablement within their tool right now, or they're going to get lost and they're going to get shut
right,
down eventually. But I think it's for recruiters, it's saying, okay, let's leverage AI when it comes to candidate engagement, for example. And so we've seen it just with chat,
yeah,
being able to kind of make it in the forefront for engaging candidates. I'm seeing it right now with voice assistants, voice
yep,
agents out there that are communicating. There's automated outreach. There's dynamic career sites now that are going to have AI elements to it. And that's going to really create a modern and sort of what I say, and more of innovative image. And I
right,
think what that does is it's going to differentiate that company. So when the talent market comes to your company, they want to see, is there an AI, sort of overlay within your company? How innovative
absolutely,
are you? And that's going to be attractive to talent. And companies
right,
that aren't going to do that are going to feel very old fashioned, so to speak.
correct,
Well, Sunil, as we kind of close this podcast, I want to leave a little bit something more for the recruiters. So when
yep,
it comes to um, recruiter relevance in the AI economy, what's kind of the mindset or skill set you think is required for recruiters to thrive kind of in this new, tech driven era? Can you kind of just share,
yeah.
some advice for recruiters that are considering specializing in AI, and what do they need to do to kind of stay relevant, lessons maybe that you've seen as far as your own path as well?
Sure, that's an excellent question. I would say definitely humanizing, the process. I mean, that's very cliche, so I'll talk a little bit more about what I mean by that. I think, you know, while AI does an excellent job with, identifying patterns and, skill sets in candidates based on, the way resumes are written, for example,
Hmm.
end of the day, we all know resume is a resume, but you don't get to know someone and their fit for a company until you speak to them, right? So that's where I think I would say to recruiters, and this is what I remind myself of every day: you need to re-emphasize to hiring managers that at the end of the day, it's still a human at the end of the day from point A to point Z that's taking a candidate through the recruitment process, right? So a candidate will only feel warm to a company if they've had a pleasant experience with a human behind the process, like
Mhm.
going from point A to point Z. So I would say that's definitely there, like the human aspect of making sure candidates feel welcome and warm, and like they get a warm and fuzzy feeling from a company as they speak through the business of recruitment for any given position. I think that's what I would remind recruiters, that that's the value add that we bring as recruiters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and the other thing I want to leave it with
Mhm.
is when you're identifying AI talent, quote unquote. I think a lot of recruiters ask me, how do I even go about doing that? How do I even go about finding, quote unquote, the right talent?
Mhm.
Obviously, you know, LinkedIn and all these tools are amazing tools online. But I also think just going to trade shows and
Yeah.
conferences and having those fireside chats
Yes.
between meals or coffee breaks, uh, that's where it really, especially because AI is such a new concept, right? At the end of the
Mhm.
day, relatively. So having these conversations with people, like explaining to hiring managers and AI candidates even where the needs are, where the demands are. Like I think a lot of people don't even realize the problems that they have are problems until you
Yes.
have that
Yeah.
conversation. So like a perfect example, when I go to conferences and I've seen like a demo, like an LLM demo,
Mhm.
then I have, then when I'm just talking to the engineer behind it, then I realize, oh, this person can also do XYZ using this LLM model for this other
Mhm.
company I spoke to, and then connecting the dots. So I think these are natural avenues as to how to identify AI talent, because it's such a practical approach at this point, where we need to find how AI professionals can help amplify processes for companies. If that
Yes.
makes sense.
I love that, Sunil. I really do, because I think what I kind of envision, or I think what AI is gonna force recruiters to do again is get out there and be part of a community. Because I think for the last decade, recruiters have been behind the scenes, very virtual, only need to get out there when they need to. But
Yeah,
AI is going to force recruiters, and companies need to invest their recruiters in going out there and building more of a community,
yeah,
and go to some of these more AI focused conferences, trade shows that you mentioned, be part of some of these workshops online or in person. I know you and I talked about these hackathons, AI
yeah.
hackathons, these meetups that are happening even locally within your communities. If they're not at your corporate headquarters, being part of panel discussions, podcasts like this. I mean, recruiters really do need to connect with AI technologists, and really kind of start fostering that knowledge sort of training mindset. And that's really going to help them when it comes to industry collaboration. And I think the companies that really start investing in this and start, really kind of saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and have our community, our recruiters go out there and be part of that AI community, are the
Right.
ones that are really going to start excelling from that standpoint.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sunil, that wraps up today's episode of the AI Plus Recruiting Podcast, the rise of AI hiring. A big thank you to you, Sunil, for sharing a powerful look at really what's driving today's AI business marketplace, and even that competitive race that we have right now for AI talent, and why recruiters really must evolve to compete in this new AI driven hiring economy. Sunil, before we let you go, I want to make sure that we get a chance to promote your company, Smart Talent AI. And so if you're an organization out there, you're looking to build an AI strategy and hire the right AI talent, or better position your company in the AI ecosystem, um, you know, or you want to get a hold of Sunil, how do you recommend that companies would get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Thanks for the plug, first of all, Alex.
Yeah.
I would say LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. My company is. So feel free to add me on LinkedIn and reach out to me. I'm happy to have a chat with you just to see how we can work together. That's one way. We have a website, www.smarttalentai.com. So definitely go there as well. And, you can see a little bit more about what we're doing and, just an overview of that. So those are the two ways I would suggest you connect with me.
Great. Well, we're really excited. I'm going to stay in touch with you so we can see how your firm grows. And this is just a great time and place to be in right now. So thank you for another very informative episode. Please remember to subscribe, to like, and comment. And until next time, it's all about the AI plus recruiting mindset. Thanks a lot, Sunil.
Thank you, Alex. See you all.
Take care.